Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Jericho's NBA Daily Fantasy Breakdown. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, the constant growth is definitely something that I am grateful for. We are on a 4-game losing streak on FanDuel. I believe we barely cashed in DraftKings last night, at least I did. FanDuel has been an absolute atrocity over the past week. There has been bad luck involved. There has been second guessing involved. I am the first one to admit when I've had a hard time. I think that it is part of anything that relates to probabilities. There's always the chance that you have a negative streak. It just happens. It happens in poker. It happens in daily fantasy. There's no real way to explain it other than the fact that I won 14 of 16 and now I've lost 4 straight. Everything has to balance out at some point. My winning percentage is down to 81% on the season. That number speaks for itself. I have yet to see anybody over 80% on the season, so I was due for a bad stretch. Getting to 90% is just it's just really unlikely and damn near impossible. So I own the losses. I apologize to those of you that joined on the bad week, but I do promise that if you stick around, things will turn around. It is the law of averages. I didn't get to 81% by accident. Just had some tough luck over the last week or so. Let's talk about last night real quick. And before that, let me mention the new website. It is NBADailyFantasyPicks.com. I've got a link down below. I will also include it in the title. That's NBADailyFantasyPicks.com. You can view all my videos on there. You can subscribe to my lineup service on there. My lineup service includes daily tournament picks. I'm actually going to start including an optimized FanDuel lineup, and I'm working towards getting a optimized DraftKings lineup based on my own projections for you guys. That's pretty much it. I mean, the site's really easy to use. On the homepage, I will always post the results from the night before so that you can see that. If you're not a subscriber and you just want to track the results to kind of see when you should subscribe and maybe join on a hot streak, you can definitely do that. Yesterday we got screwed by a few guys. Russell Westbrook decided to be a fucking asshole in the second half. He had 35 fantasy points in the first half, and he had 4 fantasy points in the second half. How in the fuck does Russell Westbrook get 4 fantasy points in a half? The answer is nobody fucking knows because it never happens. JJ Barea, with everybody out of the Mavs lineup, played 30 minutes and decided to get 13 fantasy points. He couldn't buy a shot. He got shut down by the likes of Norris Cole, which I probably should have considered. Norris Cole is a very good defender, but the reality is JJ Barea played plenty of minutes to reach value, and he just couldn't knock down a shot. DeMar DeRozan was a guy that just fit. I mean, I had to play the guy unless I paid up for LeBron and Anthony Davis. And the reason I faded Anthony Davis and LeBron was because I saw blowout potential in both of those games, and LeBron needs all 4 quarters to reach value, as does Anthony Davis. The fact that the Pelicans went out and laid an egg against a depleted Mavericks squad is great for me because I'm a Mavericks fan, but it's really shitty because I didn't see it coming. I thought that Anthony Davis and LeBron would sit the fourth quarters of both of those games, and that reasoning obviously backfired on me. That's why I went DeMar DeRozan and Paul George and DeAndre Jordan at center, and Russell Westbrook at point guard. I didn't know if Kevin Durant was going to play, and I took my chances with Russell. I thought he had a great matchup, which he did. Even if Durant sat, he just didn't perform in the second half, and of course Durant played, which made that game turn into a little bit of a blowout and hinder Russell's production. Oladipo, we had to play him. He was going to be too high owned to fade, and he had a nice game. Paul George, as I mentioned, fucked us with 30 fantasy points, even though his last 2 games he's been averaging 46. Tristan Thompson played 35 minutes and got 3 rebounds. Nobody can predict that. The guy had plenty of time on the court in a premium matchup, and he should have had at least double-digit rebounds. For him to go out and get 3 rebounds is embarrassing, and he just had an off night. Evan Turner, he was a little underwhelming, but also 50% owned. Kind of had to play him. Dwight Powell was under 20% owned, and he lit it up for 30-plus fantasy points. I really liked that play, and DeAndre Jordan did what DeAndre Jordan does. So just a few missed plays, really. I mean, if I put in LeBron or Anthony Davis, I bet we cash. And if Kevin Durant sat, we definitely cashed. So a little bit of bad luck, but it happens. It's daily fantasy. You cannot win them all. Everybody goes through cold streaks. I'm not making excuses for myself, but for anybody that's played this long enough, you know you cannot win every night, and you cannot win at a 90% clip. Things just had to balance out at one point or another, and it just so happened it balanced out when I launched my website. So stick with it, guys. Stay consistent. We're going to win a lot of money. Let me go on another streak where we win 14 to 16, and I guarantee you guys quadruple, and some people even get 7 or 8 times their current bankroll. Let's jump right into the 4-game slate. You have Atlanta at Philadelphia with a 9.5-point spread. This is the largest spread of the night, and you have a 207.5 over-under, which is the second highest over-under of the night. I really like a few things here. Let's start on the Atlanta side of the ball. Paul Millsap's been playing really well. I don't see him fitting into my cash game lineup because there's so many other options, but I do like him in cash. I think he's a great play. Excuse me. Al Horford, also a great play. I really like him at 7,400, but it's going to be hard for me to fade DeMarcus Cousins the way he's been playing. Jeff Teague, his minutes are way too inconsistent. He's a tournament play only. Kent Bazemore, I don't really love in this matchup. I think he's more of a tournament play, especially at 5,700. Dennis Schroeder. He's one of my top tournament plays of the night. His minutes have been steadily increasing. I know he had the DNP based on coach's decision a couple nights ago, but Jeff Teague has been getting less minutes, and Schroeder seems to be picking up the slack. Also, if it's a blowout, Schroeder's going to play more. So lock Schroeder in as a great tournament play. And so far, I think he's my top tournament play of the night. Kyle Korver is a great option at only 4,000. His price keeps dipping. He plays 30 minutes. He's going to get you close to 10 points. He's going to get a couple rebounds, couple assists. I really like him. That's pretty much it on that side of the ball. If we step over to the Philly side of the ball, Ish Smith is a cash game lock for me at 6,100. I'm going to play him in this matchup, especially if Schroeder gets more minutes and Teague gets less, because Schroeder is not a great defender, and Ish Smith has been performing at a very high level. Nerlens Noel is more of a tournament option for me at 6,300. Jahlil Okafor, I do not like at all. You might be able to fit him in a tournament and get lucky, but I really don't like it. Covington Grant, Stauskas McConnell, I don't like anybody. For those of you taking notes, Paul Millsap is cash only. Al Horford, cash or tournament. Dennis Schroeder, tournament only. Kyle Korver, cash or tournament. And Ish Smith, cash or tournament. Boston at Chicago, this is my favorite game of the night. This is the game I'm going to have the most exposure to. You have a 6.5-point spread, which is the lowest of the night, and a 204 over-under. On the Boston side of the ball, I think Isaiah Thomas is a fine cash game play. I don't love him in tournaments. I think he eats Derrick Rose for breakfast. My only concern is if he gets hot, they'll put Jimmy Butler on him, and Butler should shut down Isaiah Thomas. So a little bit of concern there. Kelly Olynyk is great for cash or tournament if he continues to start, which I expect him to do. Jay Crowder, great option in cash. I don't really like him in tournaments at 6,200, but I do like him in cash. Evan Turner, kind of the same. I like him in cash, but not necessarily in tournaments. Amir Sullinger, I don't love in cash, but I like in tournaments. And let's move on to the Chicago side of the ball. Pau Gasol and Jimmy Butler seem to have taken over this offense, even at their high price tags. I like both of those guys, and they'll likely both be in my cash game lineup. Mirotic is another guy that will likely be in my cash game lineup, and Taj Gibson could also see a spot in my cash game lineup. It's very risky to play 4 guys at high price tags from the same team, but when those 4 guys are pretty much heading up all of the production, it's really hard to fade them, especially in a close game. I think Derrick Rose is a tournament option, but I don't love him, and Bobby Portis is a cash or tournament option. Tonight's slate is going to be weird because almost all of the top plays are on the same team in the Bulls. So I think you need to pick and choose very carefully. I think Jimmy Butler's unfadeable at the moment. I think Taj Gibson is borderline unfadeable the way that he's been playing. So I would start with those 2 guys, and then it goes into Pau Gasol, Nikola Mirotic, and Bobby Portis. Let's move on to the third game. You have Utah at Houston. This is a bad matchup for Houston as Utah slows everything down. I think a lot of people will play James Harden, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to go the DeMarcus Cousins route instead. Although Harden is a little bit more consistent, I really hate the matchup, and I don't think he's going to have a fantastic game. Dwight Howard, I don't love at 8K. He's been a little inconsistent, and Utah is great on defense. He's also questionable, so we don't know if he's going to play. Rudy Gobert is questionable. Marcus Thornton is questionable. And I'm pretty sure, I'd have to check my notes, but I think Derek Favors had surgery of some sort, and he's out indefinitely. So fire up Jeff Withey on the Utah side of the ball. There's really no great value for Houston. If you're going to play one guy, it needs to be James Harden, and that's pretty much as far as you need to look. Gordon Hayward, this is a great matchup for him. Rodney Hood did great last time out against Houston. He's up to 5,600 now, which I don't love. He's very volatile, although he's been playing great as of late. And I mentioned this last time and it didn't pan out, but I think foul trouble against Harden is a real thing. So be very cautious rostering Rodney Hood at 5,600. That doesn't mean I won't play him. Just a cautionary tale. Jeff Withey, as I mentioned, great play. Trey Burke looks okay for tournaments. Trevor Booker for tournaments. And that's pretty much it. Gobert being questionable, I guess, means he has a chance to come back. So keep an eye out on that. Let's move on to the final game. You have the Lakers at Sacramento. Sacramento favored by 8.5. We're still waiting on the Rajon Rondo news. Willie Cauley-Stein is doubtful. D'Angelo Russell is active. Omri Caspi is doubtful. Or he's questionable, sorry. Kobe is active. McLemore is probable. Lots of injury news to look out for, and this is the last game of the night. Going to make it very hard to figure out who to play. On the LA side of the ball, I think this is a nice matchup for Kobe. It's his last game in Sacramento. He should show up. His price tag of $6,900 is a little higher than I'd like to see it, but I'm projecting him right around 30 fantasy points. So I think he's a safe shooting guard option tonight if you don't want to risk it on guys like Korver and Hood. Jordan Clarkson, he's been playing very well, but at 6,100, I don't think I'm going to play him. Lou Williams, I can't trust him after last game. He fucked me so hard. And with Kobe back, it hurts his value. D'Angelo Russell, no thanks. Julius Randle, no. Brandon Bass and Larry Nance, I think, are both options tonight. They kind of split minutes. This could be a scenario where you want to play both of them. Sounds crazy, but two guys against Sacramento that split minutes at 4,300 and 3,700. I use this strategy every once in a while, and it looks like it might be a chance where I use it again just to free up some extra salary cap. And basically what you do is you take two guys that split minutes, and if their price tag is low enough and it's a good enough matchup, you can roster both of them. They're combining for 8K. So you would need 40 points between Brandon Bass and Larry Nance to reach value. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go there. I think Larry Nance is the better option of the two. I think he sees more minutes. The coaches rave about him. They keep talking about how he could have easily been a lottery pick. His basketball IQ is off the charts. He can jump out of the gym. Larry Nance is a guy that they really like in LA. I just worry with Kobe back, with his usage going down just a little bit, that it might hinder his value. And his price has gone up to 4,300. So I'm not a huge fan of that play. But if he fits and it frees up other values, I will play him. DeMarcus Cousins is my favorite play of the night. I can't see fading him against LA the way he's been playing. He should be about 70 or 80% owned tonight. So the volatility kind of disappears in cash games because everybody else will be playing him. Rajon Rondo, if he plays, this is a fantastic matchup. I'm all for rostering Rondo if he plays. But coming off a back injury and at 8,200, there's definite risk involved. Rudy Gay is always a little bit risky, but he's safe for 25 to 30 fantasy points. I don't really love this matchup for him. I'm probably going to steer clear. Collison, if Rondo is out, is a lock, and it will likely be Collison and Ish Smith at the point guard position for me. Omri Caspi is questionable. This is huge because it directly affects Marco Bellinelli. Bellinelli has been playing out of his mind lately, and if Caspi sits, you have to plug in Bellinelli at shooting guard at 4,300. His price has risen $500, but it doesn't matter. that's pretty much it. Everybody, please check out the website, NBADailyFantasyPicks.com. You can subscribe. The prices are listed on there. Very easy to use website. You can view all my videos, all my content on there once you have a subscription. We are just growing. I mean, there's going to be a forum. There's going to be something called Jericho's Corner, where I have articles showing you guys that are new to DFS how to play. I'll have bankroll management articles. I will have articles about stacking players. I'll have articles pretty much about everything that you can think of for those of you that are trying to get into daily fantasy. The last 4 nights, as I mentioned, have been an atrocity, but I am always honest and own up to it. Everybody has slumps, everybody has losing streaks, and at 81% on the season, if you get a temper and decide you want to go try somebody else, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not one of those assholes that's going to sit there and talk shit to you. I do rant on these videos, and I do get pissed off at players, but when it comes to people that help support me and what I do for a living, I will never question what you guys want to do. I will say that nobody's at 81%, so you should stick around. That's pretty much it, guys. One of my subscribers has been telling me to get a catchphrase. So if you could hit me up on Twitter, I need a catchphrase for the end of all my videos. He didn't like "peace out, bitches," and he knows who I'm talking to, but he didn't like that. So everybody chime in with a possible catchphrase for the end of the videos, and I'll start using it on the videos. We should get to the point very soon where I have a video every day, no matter how many games. I will do it the night before, and then I will update as we go. Follow me at Twitter at InJericho'sWords, and that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks again for tuning in, and let's kick some ass tonight on the 4-game slate.